There have been a lot of questions asked today, and there's only one more answer to give. Who will win the finals at the June AGE Open in New England? We have ourselves a match of the century. It's going to be Vynnset Iron Maiden versus Dash.io. Connor Bryant versus Nick Reuter, who we have seen on the past 2 streamed games, and he is unrelenting. If he can continue to draw these rune chants, I think he's going to be able to take it down. But nevertheless, there's going to be an onslaught of boom grenades.
I don't want to correct you, Bryce, but I think we might have a Cindra matchup into Vynnset.
Hold on, let's take a look. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I definitely was thinking back on the words of my co-caster when he said, absolutely, Dash.io takes down Cindra without a question.
Well, look, Bryce, I make mistakes, you make mistakes. That much is apparent. But nevertheless, in either case, Nick Reuter just sailing to 2 excellent, impressive victories, and now going to go up against Joshua Tavares, who we saw earlier make very quick work, no, maybe not quick work, but making work of Justin Gottlieb's on Florian.
And actually, I tend to think that this is a better situation for Vynnset than the Connor Bryant Dash.io victory. I really think that Vynnset is positioned fairly well to kind of temper that hot flame that Cindra will be throwing at him in the form of kunais.
Well, when I spoke, when we spoke earlier today, I believe, oh my gosh, I'm going to forget his name.
Nick Reuter?
Nick Reuter. Sorry, Nick. I believe Nick told me that he felt that Slippy was an unfavorable match. He came out on top, and that he felt more comfortable in a Cindra. Let's see if this will be in line with what Nick has been saying. It would be a cruel twist of fate to have it be the other way around.
If tradition is to be respected, every time Peter Budensick trash talks his opponent or says that he has a favorable matchup, he tends to lose it. So you hope that that is not going to be the case for Nick Reuter, unless, of course, you are one of the throngs of people that are rooting for Joshua Tavares, a sweetheart in his own right, and someone we saw take down a stream game earlier today, and also shout out his lovely, beloved Destiny. So Destiny, if you are watching, your boy is in the finals. Let's cheer him on, and also Nick Reuter, because both of these are just swell guys, and I would love to see either of them take this event down.
Yeah, either way, the audience is a winner, I feel, in that we have 2 really strong personalities developing in this local scene. One of them is going to take the win here. We have a real, more of an established presence in Joshua Tavares, but also this really fast, I would say so far, the star of the tournament so far in Nick Reuter.
The golden boy of the June Open, shall we say?
Yeah, everybody gets their one moment here. This could be Nick's.
All right, everybody is waiting with bated breath. We've got to get down to the match floor and answer this last question. Will it be Joshua Tavares on Cindra, Dracai of Retribution on the left side of your screen, or Nick Reuter on Vynnset, Iron Maiden on the right, taking down the June AGE Open in New England? Jesse Harper looks on with trepidation, as do so many of us at home.
Yeah, and I know, Bryce, that Nick said that he felt like, he had a game plan for this. He came in, he brought Vynnset, I think, principally to prey on these Cindras. He's got to feel like this could be a good matchup for him. On the other side, but at the same time, I do believe that it will sort of hinge on whether the Vynnset disruption can get there, because if we're talking just raw damage, I don't see a way that Cindra loses a foot race.
Without a doubt, but this is not a foot race that Nick Reuter wants to run. It is instead a split damage, arcane, and physical, and disruption race that she wants to run, even though she's kind of locked in an Iron Maiden, is going to not really be able to run.
You know what I'm thinking, Bryce?
What are you thinking?
Are we going to see another Claw of Dracai presented for Joshua? He did that against his other Runeblade he played earlier today, and Florian. I have to imagine he's going to opt to do it again here against Nick.
And there are going to be much more influential and consistent rune chants, at least if the last 2 streamed matches are to be used as an indicator on the side of Vynnset. So I could see it as more of a defensible choice against Vynnset over Florian, especially because you can expect that Nick is not going to be sporting that gravekeeping tech against Cindra.
Yeah, and even if he were, Joshua has shown an ability to play around that gravekeeping when pressed for it and make the right decision. Both of these players having to make right decisions at multiple points throughout the tournament, and to get to this place, to get in the finals. I haven't been in one of these before. I assume it takes, in addition to these, navigating these difficult decisions, a little bit of luck, and each player has definitely earned their keep to get to this spot.
Without a doubt, both of these are professionals at what they do. On Nick's side of the board, being a cultist, and on Joshua's side of the board, just being an absolute beatdown of red flavored cards.
Could this be, if Nick is to win, Nick will be the second person in a row to win an AGE Open that was their first AGE Open of the year, following our good friend Del Taco in Los Angeles.
You are absolutely right about that, but I think a more historic thing could happen here. Nick Reuter could be the first person ever to show up to his first ever AGE Open and take it down. Not just this year, ever.
That would be a huge accomplishment. Let's hope he does it for him. And notably here, Nick got to go choose who went first for the first time all the top 8, and it looks like electing to go first. Let's see if he's able to develop out any of those arrows. And oh no, not the case. Electing to go second. So he did tell me actually when we spoke that this was the one matchup he likes to go second into. And Warmonger's Diplomacy seems like the ideal turn 0 play for Joshua.
Honestly, this is not the worst time for Nick to see this, especially if he's able to find himself some... Oh, interesting. It is all non-attacks in the hand. So in no situation is he going to be saying war anyway, just because all he would be able to do is send a Flail of Agony. What I was going to say is if Nick was able to find some of those copies of Malefic Incantation, this would be the time to deploy it. But that being said, here comes Arcane Cussing. It's a curious choice to deploy, though. I kind of think that Arcane Cussing should have been sided out for this matchup just because Cindra is going to deal damage to you on her turn.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think playing out Arcane Cussing is a really risky proposition here for Nick. He's almost certainly going to leak some form of damage against Joshua on Joshua's crackback.
Also, a Vexing Quill hand still in the equipment suite. Makes me wonder if there is a grasp of the Arknight in the sideboard for Nick. Instead, he's just playing out all of these useless non-attack action cards, and yes, saving that Arcane Cussing for a later date when he knows that he can force a Rune Chant to connect. He has found himself a defensive piece for the clapback. It's Deadwood Dirge and also Haunting Rendition, which I don't think we saw in the previous matchup at all. He's going to be really happy to see it here.
And, you know, you have to wonder there if Nick may be regretting his decision to go second here. I mean, not really getting any tempo. That was a very effective Warmonger's Diplomacy for Joshua. So Joshua, despite going first, going to have a card in arsenal, going to have a 5-card hand to be able to present as much damage as possible into Nick. And notably here, Bryce, this first game we had with Joshua, when he played into Florian, he did not present a Mask Momentum, here choosing to do so.
Excellent callback there, Patrick. Fire Tenant Strike First is shored up by a Machinations of Dominion. Oh, but it's an Ancestral Empowerment out of the hand of Joshua Tavares, threatening to get over the top. Nick Reuter does have the answer should he choose to deploy it. It's a Haunting Rendition, which can be discarded, and there it goes. Straight to the graveyard, going to shore up 2 points of damage on this turn rather than the 4 that it could be blocking for. But Nick is going to get a Rune Chant for his troubles, and Josh is going to have to start all over again on that Mask of Momentum.
I think Josh may be considering flicking a dagger here. He hasn't looked at the card that he's supposed to draw off of Ancestral, which implies to me, yeah, that we're still waiting for that to resolve. And sure enough, getting his flick in before this Haunting Rendition can resolve. And I think that's a heads-up play, Bryce, because after the Haunting Rendition resolve, it's effectively... Sorry, what?
Oh, he is responding.
He's responding to the Haunting Rendition's play by flicking, which he's allowed to do because we're in the reaction step. And I think that's a heads-up play because otherwise that 1 is just going to remain floating, and any flick from here on, if Nick is covering the attack completely, is going to be ineffective.
The minutia of that arm piece is what makes Cindra such an engaging hero to pilot and also to watch. We should also mention that the Claw of Vynnset did indeed make its way into the hand of Cindra on this finals match. This Blaze Headlong should be coming in for 5, currently indicated at 4, but Fire Tenant Strike First was resolved as the first attack on this combat chain.
Yeah, we're going to... That is a bit of an unfortunate because I think Nick played that as if, assuming he was, I don't think you'd block a 3 card with a 5, and now just going to try to block out the entirety of Joshua's hand here.
Nick not happy with that hand whatsoever, instead just using what he can on block, and Joshua has a haymaker as a finisher. It's Dragon Power, which is made draconic by that yellow brand with Cinderclaw that came before it, which means that it's not a measly 4. It's coming in for a whopping 7. An uppercut at the end of this 4 chain link wide combat chain.
And everything coming up Joshua so far to start this game. Nick's first turn, as Vince said, under a Warmonger's Diplomacy, pretty ineffective. Now, devoting his entire hand to the block and still leaking 8 damage, Bryce. Not where you want to be.
32 plays 40 as Nick just draws up 4 cards and passes back for more pain. And Joshua also was able to keep a card in Arsenal. So you have to believe that this is going to be more of the same. That being said, he's found himself a yellow and one of the other 3 blues that are in the deck. It's a Warmonger's Diplomacy. He also has a Lava Burst in hand, which makes me think that he just doesn't have what he needs to get wide enough to make this turn effectual. Might be another resolution of the Warmonger's Diplomacy and see if he can put a cog in the machine of Nick Reuter.
Yeah, well, if last time's any indication that he resolved the Warmonger's Diplomacy, that can be backbreaking for Nick, depending on the texture of Nick's hand. So, Joshua, lots of options available to him.
Taking a look through that graveyard.
Maybe the players being advised they missed a point of damage here on that Blaze Headlong.
From the Blaze Headlong.
Yeah, which should have been a 5, but that would have also triggered Mask Momentum theoretically. So, not really, or I guess the future chain links were blocked out anyway. So,
they were.
Little to no harm.
So the fix here is just to take 1 point of life away from Nick Reuter, who shakes his head like, that wasn't enough. I didn't take enough of a beating on that turn. What are you talking about? It's 1 more.
Joshua back to trying to solve this puzzle of a hand he's got over here. Seems pretty natural to me to lead off with the Brandwood Cinderclaw here. What do you think, Bryce?
Yeah, I mean, it's the only starter that he has in hand. Is that another Fire Tenant strike first, though?
I believe so, but no, opting here to pitch the blue. So no Warmonger's Diplomacy will be played on this turn at least.
I don't hate it. Kunai of Retribution is probably going to unlock this turn, making it so that he can resolve that Lava Burst for its Rupture effect at the end of this turn. I think the quandary for Joshua, and maybe the reason that he's kind of hesitating, is I don't think he's going to be able to convert those other 2 resources because Lava Burst will not have go again, so it's not like he can finish up with a Claw of Vynnset to close out this turn. Right now, it's Kunai of Retribution into Fire Tenant strike first, 3 go again, going to confer another point of damage on the next Draconic card resolved on this chain link.
Nick, not looking super happy with the hand he's got to work with, but he does have a reduced to rune chance that he can play for free, so should be able to shore up any attack here. Brandwood Cinderclaw here coming in for 3, so I wonder if Nick will be incentivized to block with one of his non-de-react cards.
And yes, Envelop in Darkness and Bloodied Oval going to cover up that brand with Cinderclaw. A Flick Knives activation here. Kunai of Retribution goes into the graveyard to pay for that cost. 1 damage conferred to Nick Reuter, who is down now to 26. 40 plays 26, and it's a Lava Burst to finish this up. Nick is not happy to see this one bit. 5 damage right here to finish up this combat chain. Still a card in Arsenal, just waiting to do more damage on the next turn. Sonata Galaxia.
Yeah, and Nick maybe could hope that whatever card Joshua has in Arsenal is going to effectively be an IP for him, because this will trigger Mask Momentum, but with a card in Arsenal. However, it's possible Joshua just decides to pop his boots, his Dragon Scalar Fight Paths, and make use of every single card he draws. But no, here Nick opting to just completely cover it up with the reduced to rune chant. I don't know if Joshua is now thinking about using the Dragon Scalar Fight Path anyway. Nope, just buying back his kunai and ending the turn there. Still stripping 3 cards from Nick's hand. So all of the tempo so far with Joshua Tavares.
That being said, Nick Reuter, the game plan that Vynnset wants to enact here is just to block very efficiently and do exactly this. Banish a card from hand, in this case a Widespread Ruin, and send it for free thanks to the rune chance that he's been able to generate on the defense along the way. An incredibly efficient 1-card 9 essentially on this turn. 3 Arcane and then 6 physical from the Widespread Ruin.
And this is really, something like this is really what Nick was going to need from just a 1-card hand. He's in a little bit of a hole here. And Joshua, interestingly, choosing to immediately use the Claw of Vynnset for its defensive capabilities, presumably confident in his ability to be able to buy it back next turn.
6 damage is still left to deal with. Cindra is not a hero that likes to block, but that being said, I think Joshua has found himself a shelter from the storm, an interesting bit of tech in a lot of Cindra decks, and really utilized well here. Can effectually be a blue when you most need it to block out some rune chance. In this case, getting even more value than that by blocking 4 physical. 2 damage is going to confer over the top. 26 plays 36, still in the favor of Cindra as Joshua banishes a Burning Blade Dance off of the top.
Yeah, Nick, I don't think lost any life there. So not having the opportunity to banish from the top of his deck to be able to try to fish for another Rune Gate card, unfortunately.
It is a difficult position for Nick. He has found himself a copy of Malefic Incantation, but he kind of has to hold on to 2 cards in order to play it out because he needs to banish something from hand for that Vynnset hero ability at the start of the turn. Joshua starting off really well with a natural starter. It's Bran with Cinderclaw to go again here.
Yeah, and if you might notice, Bryce, you gave the shout that maybe this is a matchup where you don't want Arcane Cussing. That Arcane Cussing has just sat in Nick's arsenal since turn 1, so maybe a bit of a regret there that this was that was the choice as opposed to just leaving it in the board.
It's just such a clunky card when your opponent is the beatdown in this case, and also when you are forced to pack the Dyadic Carapace instead of the Fiendal Spring Tunic. That's the chess piece that kind of unlocks those 1-costs for Vynnset, because even if you're not syncing it into Spellbound Creeper activations like you would like to, instead you're just developing kind of a board presence in your own right. In this case, Nick is pushing out a widespread destruction to block out that display loyalty. Josh, in turn, flicking his kunai, sending 1 damage across to Nick and keeping this Mask of Momentum alive. Ravenous Rabble is the follow-up, revealing a Ronin Renegade off the top. 4 go again here.
No D-React in hand for Nick here, so he will have to give up 2 cards if he wants to prevent Mask of Momentum from triggering.
And I think he really wants to, because I think what lies in wait in Joshua's arsenal is yet another Lava Burst. If I peeked it correctly, I saw it for just a fleeting moment, but this is exactly what Joshua wants right here. And yes, Lava Burst comes out, Rupture active, which means that it's a 1-card 5, and Nick is not feeling good. He is writhing in pain at seeing that card resolved onto the combat chain.
Well, if we're looking at positives for Nick here, this will not trigger Mask Momentum. That last block fully blocked out Ravenous Rebel, so we're looking at just 5 vanilla damage. So the question for Nick is are these cards in hand worth more than the card in the bottom right?
Joshua with a little wry, smug smile saying, Destiny, you see me now? You see me resolving 1-card 5s over and over again? Look at me, baby. And if my opponent is down to 18.
And if this continues, Joshua seems destined to take home this AGE Open Series June edition.
What he might not be able to do is beat Nick Reuter's record for dumpstering an opponent, though, because we are at 12 minutes elapsed thus far, and Nick was able to take down his previous match in 14. Nick banishing a widespread destruction. Like I said, he has to keep 2 cards in order to establish this Malefic Incantation, but no, he's not going to do just that. It's going to be Vexing Quillhand as well, normally a get-out-of-jail-free card, but also resolving that Arcane Cussing by pitching the Malefic Incantation. I want the rune chance now, not later. So it's 3 Arcane, followed up by 6 physical, threatening an arsenal that simply doesn't exist for Joshua Tavares, but also the destruction of the Arcane Cussing and 3 more rune chants on the back.
Yeah, and Joshua just not even going to attempt to block out those rune chants and prevent this Arcane, I suppose this Arcane Cussing should have triggered, right? Yeah, so that goes to grave. Joshua not concerned with that. I think he's really going to be interested in just using all of his cards to get Nick's life total closer to 0. And here, Joshua taking the entire hit, no arsenal to disrupt, and still at a 10-point life advantage.
What this does allow Nick to do, however, is to just keep a Rune Gate card in hand. Has he found one, though? Yes, he's got an Eloquent Eulogy, and send that back. He would much rather have found like a Phantom Wraith or heck, even a Widespread Annihilation with 3 rune chants floating. In this case, he's blocking with a Dyadic Carapace on the Ignite. Ignite follows up into Kunai of Retribution, which is free thanks to the fact that Ignite was resolved previously. 28 plays 17, and Joshua has got his foot placed firmly on the Draconic Gas.
Yeah, interesting to see what Joshua will present here. There's the drop of Dragon Blood that we saw earlier earlier today in Joshua's first feature match. This time, not going to be discounting maybe it will eventually be pitching towards dagger, maybe a 1-for-4. In either case, a resource positive card. And right on cue, we have a 1-for-4 drawn in the hand. That's, I believe, Demonstrate Devotion. So quite a banger of a hand for Joshua here, Bryce.
Man, that drop of Dragon Blood is looking like a deluge after that top deck.
A deluge of Dragon Blood? All right. And so Joshua...
Too much alliteration?
Maybe.
Oh, come on.
Gonna flick here, keep his Mask of Momentum trigger alive. I wonder here if Nick feeling any regret about blocking, committing his equipment so early in the combat chain, because now he's got to prevent 4 and has a block to do that cleanly. So this should prevent a mask trigger, barring some chicanery that I cannot see.
So Nick has the option to keep that 1-card hand, like I said, and send the Eloquent Eulogy, but he also has the option to continue blocking out and just wait for a better Rune Gate card to come his way. And you are kind of want to do that, especially if you are sitting on those 3 rune chants. There's not going to be that many opportunities for you to build up that many purple circles against the constant pressure of Cindra.
And here, Joshua buying back his daggers and just passing, satisfied with the amount of damage he has pushed at Nick there, or again, requiring Nick to give up 2 cards from hand.
So a lot of equipment pushed out onto the combat chain for Nick Reuter. He is going to be forced to make a play here. And this looks scary because there's a Succumb to Temptation in the hand. Eloquent Eulogy, 4 and 4, split between 4 rune chants and 4 physical, means that Joshua Tavares is going to be facing down an instant speed Succumb to Temptation. Will he sniff it out, though? Oh, no, indeed. Succumb to Temptation comes down at instant speed. Will Nick be able to find the bomb in the hand of Joshua Tavares? Is there a single starter, perhaps?
Well, fortunately for Joshua, he does have Art of the Dragon Blood in Arsenal and plenty of fealty to pop to that, so he's going to be able to get started anyway. But if I were a Nick seed, I would think I need to take the chain starter, which here is Rising Resentment.
Without a doubt. Unless Josh has found himself another starter in the arsenal, he is going to be relegated to pitching for a Kunai of Retribution, which is exactly what you don't want to be doing. Josh giving a wry smile, perhaps signaling to us at home that I'm going to be fine no matter what is picked here.
Yeah, I think that Art of the Dragon Blood he's got in Arsenal is going to keep him nice there. But and maybe Nick's snuffing that out because Demonstrate Devotion is the card you want to have to follow up an Art of the Dragon Blood.
Nick, his AGE June run on the line, trying to pick the exact card to inflict the most pain on his opponent.
And I don't want to keep hammering Nick's position here, but I do think every single edge Nick can get here is crucial because he's got a little bit of a mountain to climb out of. He's in a little bit of a hole right now, and Joshua has had the moves all day today, and it does not look like he's slowing down. No, sort of hiccups or missteps like we saw in his game against Justin Gottlieb here so far. It's all gas for Joshua.
Yeah, Josh is looking incredibly comfortable in this position, and even though we said that we typically give the edge to Vynnset in this situation, it's not by a whole lot, especially because Nick has not been able to establish a lot of those consistent rune chant generators early on. There's no Malefic Incantations on the board. There's just the one Arcane Cussing that has been able to hit the arena for him. And no, it's a Rising Resentment taken from the hand. Nick saying, I have to gamble on the fact that there is no starter in that arsenal, but alas, he is about to get his answer and it is not great. Now, he still has an action point, can swing that Flail of Agony, but Josh has the perfect answer in a block from Dragon Scalar Flight Path, which he wants to do at some point in this game anyway, so a swing of the Flail might just be -1 life for Nick Reuter.
Yeah, I would say it's almost certain that the Dragon Scalar Flight Path is going to be committed to block this Flail, so Nick may be facing a position where he's trading 1 point of life for a block value on the boots, which when you're at 16 life against Cindra, I'm not sure is really the juice is worth the squeeze.
And Josh, with a perfect position here, staring off into the sunset because he's got all of the answers lined up against his opponent, at least for now. Only 5 life points separate these two players. 16 plays 21, currently in the favor of our Draconic Ninja. But Josh has got himself 3 cards in hand and 1 in the arsenal. Josh instead, does not snap take. He reached for his life pad to reduce the life total of his opponent. Nick Reuter down now to 15. Josh immediately blocking with that Dragon Scalar Flight Path, preventing the Rune Chant generation on Nick's side of the board, which is a very heads-up play because now that Vynnset has no Rune Chants already established, the threat is very low.
And Nick reacting to seeing the Art of the Dragon Blood, he thought maybe he had bricked up his opponent's hand. Not the case, unfortunately, for Nick. And as we can see, we've got Josh has at least 3 0 for 4s coming Nick's way. And Nick going to go ahead and opt to use the Face Purgatory now. Interesting play here for Nick, and I think it is an easy enough choice for Joshua to get rid of the only 0 for 3 in his hand and keep the remaining 0 for 4s, or what are effectively 0 for 4s because of the reduction from Art of the Dragon Blood.
There are no last-ditch efforts in the deck of Nick Reuter, but this is a last-ditch effort. Face Purgatory overblocking on this Art of the Dragon Blood, trying to stem the bleeding here. But it is going to be a follow-up of Demonstrate Devotion. 4 go again here. Nick forced to block with a Cull out of the hand. Curious that he's not electing to take a little bit of damage here and play out that Cull. I wonder if that was an option for him. Nevertheless, proceeding on, Blaze Headlong, 4 go again. 2 on 4 is blocked here. Shadow Puppetry leaks 2 damage in, which means that Joshua continues the onslaught and has a healthy valley in terms of life total between him and his opponent.
Nick keeping a Cull in hand, I think, here, so at least going to be able to cost Joshua 1 card in hand. That will, I think, eat up his Eloquence, unfortunately. But, oh, no, not the case. Just going to go ahead and send a Flail, paying 1 more life. So Nick getting a little bit perilously low here.
But now that the Dragon Scalar Flight Path has been blocked with, it's almost certain that this Flail of Agony is going to connect and create a Rune Chant token. Cull can be played at instant speed here because Nick has lost life.
Or it has to be arcane damage, doesn't it? Or, well, it looks like Nick's...
No, that's Succumb to Temptation. Cull can be played at instant speed as long as a hero has lost life. Doesn't matter who.
Gotcha.
It's one of those on-pain effects that makes Vynnset so iconic in this game.
That's why you're the expert, BP.
Ooh, in the hand, Joshua Tavares doesn't have a super clean hand. It's 2 Ancestral Empowerments, a Wrath of Retribution, and another red, which I don't believe is a Draconic starter. I want to say it's hot on their heels.
Yeah, Wrath of Retribution can be a little feast or famine, but Ancestral is going to draw cards for Joshua. Maybe that'll be enough to sort of dig him out of the awkwardness of his hand.
Yeah, here comes Cull at instant speed, consuming that Eloquence token, generating an action point. There is nothing left resource-wise for Nick to use on that action point. The more important part here is ripping a card out of Joshua's hands, which is really nice here because he's already going to have to pitch an entire card to swing for 1 go again.
Nick maybe getting a bit of fortune his way with a little bit of a clunkier hand for Joshua, but no, this Ignite will discount the next attack, or the next Draconic card that Joshua chooses to play here. So maybe that is the natural unclunker for that Wrath of Retribution in his hand.
Both players having a laugh. Josh giving a quick knowing look to the camera once again as Nick's attempts to completely destroy his turn and get rid of all of those all-important starters falls flat once again. It was an Ignite in hand. My mistake, folks. Ancestral Empowerment is going to draw a card here, which means that Nick is going to take a full brunt of 3 on this attack unless he has an instant speed shenanigan to play out. In this case, no. It's Kunai of Retribution followed up. Free, of course, because of that Ignite. 1 go again. Nick takes it immediately.
So Nick down to 7 here.
Card drawn off of Ancestral Empowerment.
That'll
is
do.
Ronin Renegade. That will absolutely do because now we have 3 Draconic Chain Links, which means that Wrath of Retribution resolved on the next Chain Link is going to have is going to cost 0.
And that is going to put an incredible amount of pressure on Nick's life total. Nick, I think, really doesn't want to get rid of the cards in his hand. He's thinking about Mask of Momentum, which is definitely something to consider, but I don't think Nick is even considering that what is about to follow, which is going to be an absolute torrent of damage.
Every time we've seen Joshua on stream today, which granted has only been twice, he has had that Wrath of Retribution exactly when he needs it.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, though, that hand that he had did look a little bit clunky, and it did have a card pulled from it. And nonetheless, Joshua, finding a way to make the most of that very powerful Cindra. Not special. I always think it's a specialization. That legendary Cindra.
It might as well be for all intents and purposes. Flicking his kunai of Retribution is Joshua Tavares. Definitely about to come back out onto the combat chain in short order, thanks to that Wrath of Retribution and a buyback of the knives, as is Cindra's right. And there it is, Wrath of Retribution. And Nick just writhes in contempt of this legendary card.
Yeah, I think this is the card that is slowly going to spell the doom for Nick in this matchup. It's incredibly powerful. We see what can be used. I guess the only upside for Nick is that Joshua was forced to have attacked with his kunai already once. So we're really talking about 2 more dagger swings coming Nick's way. But nonetheless, 2 damage when you're at 6, that's a third of your life.
I love this play right here. Joshua is thumbing the Claw of Vynnset because he'll be able to give it go again thanks to the Dragon Scalar flight path. So he might as well swing with that one first, buy back the kunai, then swing the one with natural go again, and then, of course, the follow-up with a second Claw of Vynnset. Just confirming that he's dotted all his I's and crossed all his T's.
Yeah, I think this is Joshua's game to lose at this point, so you would not hold it against him for just making sure everything's on top. He did not got his math wrong, doesn't have his sequencing wrong, and I don't quite think he does.
I love Joshua's posture through this whole game. He's just like, his eyebrows just say like, yeah, when you have it, man. I don't know. The deck's just doing its thing.
That's really the ethos of Cindra, I find, is when you have it, you have it. And today, at least on stream, Joshua's had it conquering another Cindra, conquering a Dio, and now a Vynnset. These are matchups, at least Dio and Vynnset, that I would not have guessed that Joshua would have been favored in, nonetheless, finding a way.
Joshua gives go again to this Claw of Vynnset. Shadow Puppetry is going to block. Oh, he's thinking. I see. He was making sure that it wasn't Claw of Vynnset being sent in quite yet. Shadow Puppetry blocked 2 on this kunai of Retribution after Cindra buys it back, which means there's one thing left to do, and it's another swing of the Claw of Vynnset. It should be.
No, he would have had to close the chain for it to be bought back. And then he wouldn't have had the draconic chain links to be able to pay to bring it back.
You don't have to close the chain to buy your daggers back. It's instant.
No, he used flick knives, so there was no way for it to have hit the bin. It's all right. I'm pretty sure.
I don't think it had to hit the bin, is what I'm saying. Dragon Scalar Flight Path allows you to swing with it an additional time. So
I see what you're saying.
You can buy back the kunai, swing that one with go again, and then swing the Claw of Vynnset once more.
How dare I have doubted you, BP? You have found the line.
I tried to tell you.
You did. You did, and I was too foolish to listen.
Oh, Foolish is my co-caster, but Foolish is not Joshua Tavares as he comes in with a backbreaker of a starter. Hey, there's a response in kind, though. Haunting Rendition is going to shore up all the damage from that Oath of Loyalty as the follow-up is hot on her heels. 3 go again, shored up by Phantom Banshee. Brand with Cinderclaw, another 3 block out of the hand of Nick Reuter. The pace of play is increasing to a lightning fast pace. It's a flick knives after a Cindra activation of the kunai of Retribution. 1 damage leaks through. Nick descends on down to 2. 17 plays 22, and the final thing on this turn for Joshua Tavares is a Warmonger's Diplomacy. Nick, however, with 1 card in hand, is probably not caring about what he chooses on this Warmonger's. It's probably going to be War. Vynnset banishes a Phantom Wraith, brings him up to 2 Rune Chant tokens, which means that this Phantom Wraith can come out to play 2 Rune Chants and 6 physical.
Yeah, and maybe Nick picking up his speed of play and a little bit of a I'm so close to death here anyway that put me out of my misery almost. But no, Nick putting up a bit of a fight, sending 8 points of damage back. That represented nearly half of Joshua's remaining life total. So.
Josh still has a response. It's Shelter from the Storm shoring up 4 of that damage. And Nick breathing a massive sigh as all of his offense is for naught. Brand with Cinderclaw starting out right here. And there's an Art of the Dragon fire in the hand for Joshua Tavares. This could spell doom.
This will end the game on the spot unless Nick has some sort of prevention effect, which Joshua's going to try to snuff out. If so, with this flick, seeing nothing, I think he probably has the go-ahead to just go for it.
Art of the Dragon fire, and yes, down goes the hand. Nick Reuter extends the fist bump, and Joshua Tavares takes this one down for the Draconic Ninjas.
Excellent win for Joshua Tavares. Navigated through some difficult matchups in the top 8 to be able to lock this down and get his first AGE Open Series victory of the year.
A massive congratulations to Joshua. He is no stranger to the top 8 at AGE, but the victor's seat, not nearly as much. And he's secured himself 30 AGE points and also $400 USD in cash.
And, two very, very prized possessions, and hopefully this is going to solidify his position in the Players' Championship so that maybe he has a chance to earn even more cash.
A massive win to a friendly fellow and somebody that we are very happy to have here participating at the AGE Open. Also a win for his beloved Destiny. Destiny, if you're in chat, shout out to your boy Joshua. He just took this one down for all the marbles. We are so proud of him and all of the competitors at the AGE June Open in New England. Thank you all so much for participating. We will be back in short order for a quick interview with our winner, Joshua Tavares, as he takes a victory lap around Grave Troll Games before we all wrap it up here at AGE. Stay tuned. Let's hear from the boy wonder Joshua Tavares in a moment. It's a burning love story to close out the AGE Open June edition in New England, but it is not a tale of fire and brimstone. It is instead a tale of wrath and retribution in the hands of Cindra, Dracai of Retribution, piloted, of course, by Joshua Tavares. Congratulations on the win, Josh. How you feeling?
I'm happy. It was a great day.
Yeah, without a doubt, brother. It'll do your heart good to know that your beloved Destiny was sounding off in chat. I have to ask, are there any plans for, I don't know, like a date night or something with that 400 smackers?
Oh, you bet. Tomorrow we'll do some groceries and we'll go out to eat after for a treat.
Groceries and eating. Let me guess. Is it going to be a Taco Bell date?
I'm kind of hungry for a seafood boil.
That's what I'm talking
Maybe some crawfish.
about, dude. You got good
seasoning?
crawfish
Come
out
on.
there?
Yo, yeah.
100%. All right. I'm glad to hear it. Well, Destiny, you heard it here first. Get ready for a crawfish boil and also some grocery action coming your way, courtesy of those 400 smackers from AGE. Congratulations, Joshua. You are no stranger to the top 8 bracket. Here, you've already made 3 top 8s this season, but this is the first ultimate W.
True.
How you feeling, dude? Does it feel great to take one of these down?
Oh, yeah. It feels great. And I got a ton of points. How many points do I have? 1 million by now?
Yeah, let me calculate it.
Like
Yeah,
200 million?
It is 200 million, in fact.
Like
So
2 billion.
I believe that
Nice.
means you are all but locked for the Players' Championship. But that being said, we still have 3 opens yet to play. And I have to imagine that you're going to be coming back and competing for more cash. Is that right?
It's good when I come and win. Destiny tells me I go all these things to lose. Well, today I won, you know? So now I have more credibility. Like, yeah, I'm going to go to the AGE this weekend. I better not hear anything about it. That's it.
Nevertheless, she seems to be incredibly
The champ.
supportive of you based on how intensely she was sounding off and singing your praises during the entirety of that match.
Awesome.
Maybe we can convince her to come out and play one of these sometime.
Oh, no, she'll stay at home. She takes care of things at home, you know? This is my thing. It's okay.
Fair
I'll
enough.
see her tonight. It's good.
So, Cindra is not a hero that I think I've seen you play yet, Josh, except for maybe during the limited AGE that we had to kick things off on season 3. How does it feel to be in the Draconic Ninja seat?
I don't prefer it, but I played it because I think it was a good choice. I had to pick up this deck during Road to National season. I just wanted something to get the invite, so I've been having Cindra for a bit of time now. I enjoy playing it. I shouldn't complain, but it's maybe not my style.
What do you normally gravitate towards?
I'm super excited for the Guardian Mastery Pack to come out. I really hope that I could play Guardian someday. I just enjoyed playing Florian at Nationals. That's more my style. Block 2 cards, send a disruption.
Wow, so this is
That's
really
me.
outside of your wheelhouse.
You better believe it.
Okay, but nevertheless, piloting it to a victory. Did I notice you kind of looking toward the camera every now and then with your eyebrows raised, kind of like, yeah, I don't know. Sometimes the deck just does its thing.
Yeah, you got me good. You got me.
Every time, it seemed like every time that Nick was trying to like rip the starter out of your hand, brick the hand as much as humanly possible, you always had the answer either in arsenal or just lurking in hand where he couldn't get it.
It was my day. Yeah.
Yeah, and speaking of your day,
It is my
2
day.
lava bursts in as many turns as well.
Yeah, that was a little bit nuts.
So
That's how it goes.
we were kind of questioning your choice in regards to bringing the Claw of Vynnset in the Florian matchup against Justin Gottlieb, but it seemed to really sing against Vynnset.
Absolutely. Yeah, it saved me like 100 life.
100, did you say?
200 life.
You're the epitome of hyperbole, my friend. Josh, I'm going to go ahead and let you go because even though it is only 5:37 here on the West Coast, I know it is getting late there, and you have got some money to spend and some love
Absolutely.
to receive from Destiny. So go ahead and take the rest of the night off. You've earned yourself a handsome amount of AGE points and also some bragging rights for that matter.
Thank you, Bryce. You're the best.
You're the best,
Appreciate
buddy.
it.
We will see you next month, brother, and we'll be back at oh my gosh, where else do we? Great Stories, Comics and Gaming. You can tell
You
it's
know
been
it.
a long day. Good night to you, Joshua, and good night to all of you out there in Wraith Radio Land. We'll be back for more AGE coming up. Here's our upcoming schedule on the 13th of July, which is a Sunday next month. We'll have Dual Threat. We've got the Great Stories, Comics and Gaming AGE New England Open coming, which will be Classic Constructed, as well as the AGE Open in LA at Top Deck Keep in Riverside, California. And then we've also got another Open scheduled for August 9th, the following month, and we will probably be returning back to Grave Troll Games the following month as well. Well, that is going to do it here for all of us at AGE. Thank you to everybody that tuned in. Thank you to the players, and thank you to our brand new sponsor, Grave Troll Games, and Katie Lamar. That's about it. Until next month, you've been great, and we will be back with more Flesh and Blood in just a moment.